So for those of you that have been asked to create a new or use the revised version of the assignment for assessment 2, so who've been found guilty with the academic misconduct, the assignment has a number of the same principles but actually a number of differences as well. So let me just talk you through what those differences are. So it's still the same length in terms of the report, it's still a marketing report, and it still has the same learning criteria. The key difference is that you're going to be asked. Um, so the premise of it is quite different. So first of all, it has to be another organisation, and we will check that. So we'll look at your original submission and look at this submission and make sure that you've chosen a different assessment, a different company in the FTSE 100 or the FTSE 250. And the idea of it is that you've got to show this in-depth analysis of the organisation. It's the same as the last one, but you need to do it with a view to actually going in as an MBA graduate to that organisation. So they're keen to show that you've done some critical analysis of their organisation and looked at their performance, looked at their marketing strategy, and looked at also so done a context analysis, looked at their marketing communications, and looked at a peer analysis. So exactly the same things we're looking for. So please use the assessment 2 guidance for it. So you're still going to use that. You're going to use it with the same word counts, but you're going to do it for a different organisation. So you're going in as an MBA graduate at this company that you've chosen. So you get to choose it, but it's different from the first one. And what we'd like you to do then in this assessment 2 guidance, there are a number of things that you need to do. So the first one is an introduction to the business. So ideally you use the organisation itself as a source of information, but other ones as well, Euromonitor, Mintel, Statista, industry sources as well to give a broader context. And you cite them, you use in-text citations, so you put your sources in there. Then you go into the context analysis as per assessment 2 guidance. So you're looking internally and you're using 2 aspects of that. So there's a number to choose from. I think there's 4 or 5 for each element, but you only pick 2. And it says that in the assessment 2 guidance to allow you the depth of analysis. Then you do a market analysis and you do an external analysis. So again, you're using 2 tools for each of those aspects and you're explaining what a context analysis is. So you're doing that to put the organisation into context, to talk about its performance, to explain how it's doing and what the challenges are. The next section is where you're looking at the marketing communications and giving some background to the organisation and their background and their marketing communications. You're also looking at DRIP as a model, so differentiate, reinforce, inform and persuade, but you're not just going to describe it, you're actually going to go into detail and apply it to your organisation and a particular communication. So for example, if an organisation is positioned as slightly better than its competitors, then its communications might all be about differentiation. What I'd like you to do, if they are about differentiation, is to show a communication, so maybe a marketing campaign, an advertising campaign, and actually show it as an example of differentiation. So you're not just talking about it in general, you're actually showing how the organisation use the different aspects of DRIP or one aspect of DRIP in their marketing communications. Then we want you to look at marketing, at segmenting, targeting and positioning. Not generic, we don't want you just to talk about you can segment by demographic, by geography, by behavioural, etc. We want you to talk about how your organisation uses this, and they want to hear about it as well if they're considering employing you. So really critically, use some critical analysis here. What's a really meaningful analysis in terms of how they're grouping people together? Which ones do they choose? So how are they targeting the customers and their profile? And then a positioning map. And you're explaining what a positioning map is, but you're creating one for them against their peers. And you're doing it on 2 meaningful axes. And you're explaining where you've got the data from, but you're also explaining what the critical analysis is, what the limitations of using it are, because it's all very subjective. So then we've looked at their marketing, and now finally we're going to conclude by looking at how they are performing against their competitors through a peer analysis. And this is where you're going to use your databases. If you've forgotten how to access them or which to use, go back to the Moodle contents on week 6, and there's a number of videos by Jane Monks. So please use those to refresh your memory. Fame is going to be the basis of this analysis for the identifying who they are. But really, what I'm interested in is not just the numbers. In fact, very little about the numbers. It's more about what their strategies have been and what the results have been. So we're talking about how they compare with their peers, how that they're performing, and what's sort of allowing those that are doing better to do better. So what the different results are of these different approaches. So, from everything I've just told you, hopefully you'll realise this is not a financial assignment, this is a marketing assignment. So, lots of financial analysis is not required and not wanted. Porter's five forces is neither required nor wanted, nor a risk analysis or risk matrix. Often I've seen these in previous submissions of this assessment. So, avoid all of those. Stick to the assessment 2 guidance. There will be some additional support that I'm providing, which I'll detail on Moodle for you to check and to get that support nearer the time. It will have boundaries. There will be dates as to when I'm providing that support. And then when the date's over, I will not be providing any more support. So please respect that. Okay. All right, good luck with this second assignment. Use Assessment 2 guidance because that is a fantastic resource for you to use. Okay.